Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
Happy Monday and welcome back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Today, how to stay committed to your goals in 2023. How does one stay committed? Wow. Look, happy Monday, guys. And I'm super excited about life, health, and the pursuit of happiness, if you will. And I'm excited because goals are real, guys. Goals are real. I don't know, every day just going to the gym, like that's been a goal of mine for many years. And the fact that I've stayed committed to it is one of these things that's like, wow. So I'm gonna ask you a question. What's one goal that you wish you would have stayed committed to? What is one goal that you wish you would have stayed committed to? See, I want you to be a part of the conversation. I want you to be a part of this. Or what is one goal that you are committed to and you've seen results come in on your goals, on that one goal or two goals, whatever goals it are? What's that goal? I was at the gym with my son, Jacob, this morning. He decided he was no longer going to rely on his friends to get him to the gym. He says, Dad, I'm going to come with you to the gym, even though I don't want to go to the gym as early as you go. He originally was like, Dad, I don't want to go to the gym at 7. I don't want to go to the gym at 6:30. And I was like, all right, cool. It's summertime. You can go to the gym whenever you want. So he's got his own little thing. He can go. He says he's going to get one of his friends to go with him. They went once in the past. Man, that's probably their first, may have been 2.5 weeks ago. That was the first week out of school. So one time in the past 2.5 weeks, they went. And it was just so interesting because it's like, wow, this is, and now he's trying to call me, but I'm on a broadcast right now, son. So it's interesting because he was relying on his friend to I guess keep him motivated, when it's like, hey, you guys never did this before. How is it you're going to stay committed to your goal? Now here's a tip. If you want to stay committed to your goals, you need to find somebody already committed to that goal. Find someone already committed to that particular thing. Why do I say that? Because imagine if you can go find somebody else committed to goals, but if it's not specific to the one goal you want to make sure you hit, then they may not have the perspective that you need. So find someone committed to the goal that you want to hit. So here it is. He says, Dad, I'm going to come with you. All right, cool. So yesterday he tells me, hey, this is what I wanted. I just want to focus on this. I just want to focus on this part of my chest and my abs. I'm like, okay, cool, And so I'm saying to myself, does he not realize we can't do chest every day? Like, we can't do that. Well, we can do abs every day. I think abs is the one area of the body that you would actually work out every single day. And so we didn't talk much about it. And then we went home and, day went on. And, the thing about losing weight or getting in shape, the food we eat is going to make or break our weight loss goal. And so I didn't get a chance to talk to him about it. So they went on. So today he's like, hey, Dad, I told you I just want to do these areas. I said, hey, we can't just work out the chest every day, son. Now, we got to work out some other parts of the body. And then when we got done, I said, son, all right, you can work out as much as you want, but if that diet doesn't change, if you keep putting the same stuff in, like yesterday, I had some things that you probably shouldn't have eaten that. You probably shouldn't have ate that. So if you shouldn't have eaten it, then what do you do? So I said, well, this is what I'm doing. Because I said, you know what? let me go out in front. Let me start. Let me be the poster child. I said, I'm going to do this. Now you can do what I'm doing, which is I'm going to limit certain types of foods. I'm probably not going to eat. I'm trying not to eat. I'm limiting carbohydrates, at least the bad ones. Anything processed, or especially breads. Like I said, you can't eat bread. Bread is processed. You don't want to mess with that stuff. That stuff will mess your whole goal for weight loss up. It's like, really? Like, yeah. I was like, he works at Chick-fil-A. I said, don't get the fried nuggets, get the grilled nuggets. It's like, okay, so he's been planning out his stuff. And I was like, and I thought about this, wow, if someone's going to stay committed to the goals, they need someone else to kind of help them who's already committed there, right? And I won't even call it accountability. It's not really accountability. What it is someone actually doing it, right? Someone's actually doing the thing that you want to do, and then you can actually go with them while they're doing it. It's nothing like someone already hitting all the goals. And if you met me and I was already a bodybuilder, which maybe one day, you never know. Like at 60, when I turned 60, you're like, Jay, you turned to be a bodybuilder at 60. How'd you do that? Like, what? That's unheard of. Well, I started late. It's one of these things where, you start late. So if you want to stay committed, if I was going to stay committed to my goals, I'm going to find other people. I'm going to find people that have similar goals, or that have already reached these goals. Kind of like, when I find mentors in business. And like I talked about this recently, I find a mentor in business. They're already doing it. I just basically do whatever they tell me to do, and I just keep going. Now, staying committed. Friend of mine, Jamie Pottinger, he did a video last week, commitment versus compliance, and staying committed. Do you know how hard that is to stay committed to a goal? Or do you know how easy it is to be a complier, someone who complies with everything? Compliance is easy, right? It's kind of like, well, they say show up at 8:00 in the morning. Heard a story about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, he was on the Dream Team. They called the Redeem Team, right? Now, before Kobe Bryant joined the team, that team lost. That team went and they lost in the Olympics, and I think they lost in the World Championships too. And so then Kobe Bryant comes on the team. And so they had certain times when they had to practice. Say practice is at 6 a.m., right? So they all, go to practice at 6. Now, here's what was interesting. Everybody, all of the guys went out. Say they all go out on a Sunday night, practice at 6 a.m. They're coming in at 3:00 in the morning from partying. Everybody except one person. Kobe Bryant was the only one who was not out. And here it is. They're coming in from partying, and Kobe's going to the gym to work out at 3:00 in the morning. They're like, what? See, commitment is different than compliance. So when it comes to staying committed to your goals, you're going to do things that even the other good people don't do, right? This is the LeBron James, the Carmelo Anthony's, all of the other guys that was on the teams. It wasn't like they weren't really good at the time, but Kobe was on a different level when it came to his commitment about what he was doing. He says, I'm not going out. That's not even important to me. That stuff is not that stuff has nothing to do with my goals. So being committed to your goals will require you to go on the road less traveled. Yes, the road less traveled. What does that look like? Road less travel is interesting because I shared a story in a book that's going to come out soon. Now, talk about this proverbial person. He wakes up in the morning and he's headed out to work. He GPSs everything. He sees how much time it's going to take the night before to get to work, and he's like, "Yes, wow, it's going to take me an hour to get to work, and I'm gonna be on time." He's up at the right time. He's heading out at the right time. But he did not realize that everybody else was going to work. And he gets out there, and there's thousands of other people going in the same direction. And he's sitting there like, wait a second, how in the world did I miss this? Well, he was complying with the time that he had to be at work. He wasn't committed. See, in a commitment, it's kind of like the people on the other side of the road. He's looking on the other side of the road like, why is only 10 cars on that side and thousands on this side? Well, because somebody decided to commit to something totally different. Somebody says, you know what, I'm not going the direction of everybody else. I'm going to do something different. Just like Kobe Bryant says, well, you know, those guys are good, but I'm the best. You know what? And back then, I wasn't as much a Kobe Bryant fan because I didn't know. I didn't really know who he was. But now that I know who he was, I'm like, yo, the dude worked. It's nothing like a person who works. It's nothing like a person who's more committed than everybody else. It's nothing like a person who's like a man amongst the man's man. Especially when it comes to men, like women, that's, you guys can be the woman's woman. But it's not like the man's man, because the man's man, it's almost like men. I'm gonna tell you, we love a guy that we can look up to. It's just in our genes. We love to look up to other men, especially men of men. And Kobe was one of those guys. So if you're going to stay committed to a goal, right? If I'm going to stay committed to a goal, then it's kind of like, it's interesting because I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe this morning, and I listen to Dr. Miles at least a few times a week. And I'm listening to him, and he mentioned something that I knew, that I'd heard many times, and it kind of hit me over and hit me again. And I says, man, the scripture of Matthew 6:33, it says, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. What are all the things? Have you ever prayed for all the things? And I said to myself, man, I probably prayed for things before. It's like, why am I praying for things? Why am I praying for things when my commitment is going to make those things come? Like, the commitment to the kingdom is what's going to make the things come. And I was like, man, I've got to recommit myself. I've got to take my life and look at it from a different perspective. I got to take my business and look at it from a different perspective. I've got to take my marriage and look at it from a different perspective. I can take my fathering and look at it from a different perspective. My friend, like everything, I've got to take it, my finances, and look at it from a different perspective, because it's the commitment. It's the commitment that's going to make or break whether or not the kingdom provides everything. See, because the kingdom's going, yeah, food and drink and all these other things and clothes. But what about the other things? What about the other things? Now, there's some things that aren't mentioned, but we got to assume that all those things come because of the commitment. That's why we're going to end right here. What is the commitment? The commitment to the kingdom. You say, some people say, what is that kingdom? What is the kingdom? As a Western, we live in Western society, and as a Western society person, we don't understand what the kingdom really is, because we've been democratized, colonized, we've been, whatever ties they have put over us, but we don't understand what the kingdom really is. The kingdom is kind of like if, when you look at, if you look at your dad, your father, and when your dad says something, or when your dad creates an environment, and it's just what dad created, there's nothing you can do. Like, hey, this is my rules in my house. This is how you will have to abide as long as you're in my house. Now, you can get out there and do whatever you want, but not in my house. You ever heard that before? I know I have. Not in my house. So when we think about that, the king has absolute rulership. There's no vote. There's no, hey, can we try this way this time? No, this is just my way. And so the commitment to the kingdom is understanding what the king said. King said to seek first. So if we're going to seek first, then what if we want, hey, Jay, well, What about my body? I want to lose weight. What about my finances? I like to earn more money. What about my business? I like to grow. I like to, I've got a marital thing. I've got lots of things happening. How do I address all those things? Hey, let's just back up. The kingdom, the purpose, the kingdom, the purpose, the power, the provision. I'm gonna say that one more time. We seek first the kingdom. The kingdom will reveal our purpose. The power of what we can do will show up. The provision comes because all those four things is what takes place in our life. As those four things happen, then the goals, the dreams, the visions, all those things will be added to us. So guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.